What's going on, everybody? We're here this Monday afternoon. We're going to go over the most important segment is product training. Okay, so we're going to go through and through, go through all the top carriers, knowing which companies that we should go through, which times, and then finally, once we get through the underwriting and product training, we're going to go through the actual risk assessments and give you some scenarios. So first and foremost, I want to welcome and introduce Mr. Jordan Supino, the number one Transamerica writer that we have on in the team, like literally. So he's going to teach you the through and through, and then we can go from there. Okay.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Yep. What's up, everybody? All right. So as we get into this nitty gritty, having some fun, I'm understanding exactly where to go and how to get there, and really simply to get the whole job done. Let's talk about some strengths. Transamerica, right? It's been around, as all of our top companies, been around for well over 100 plus years. Some key strengths with Transamerica, they're very strong with telesales product. All right. It's got a simplified underwriting, good approvals for moderate health issues, and competitive pricing. They have some unique advantages with them, right? They're fast digital underwriting, strong for medication heavy clients. Excuse me, and they have a good fallback carrier. Getting a little bit more deeper into that, some of the best clients on there for you are going to be, if you're looking, people that have diabetes, heart medications, blood pressure, cholesterol. What separates Transamerica, as you guys know, if you hear things like anything with diabetes, any complications of a diabetes, you're going to want to go Transamerica directly. You're hearing things like with congestive heart failure, you're going to want to go there. They're good with medications, but what happens is you got to be real careful when you got a long list of medications. It's going to get a little bit more trickier. So some key things that when do you want to pivot away? COPD as well. COPD with Transamerica as well. COPD, congestive heart failure, neuropathy. When you hear those things, those are the key moments you want to head up to Transamerica. But keep in mind, 2 out of 3. Can't be all three. That's going to be a knockout for you. When you hear things like maybe oxygen, a terminal illness, some severe cardiac conditions, that's going to be really a hard no. Some pivot strategies. If Transamerica declines, you're going to have a lot of other carriers you can go into. But let's talk about why Transamerica, right? Why Transamerica first? Number one, as agents, I'm sure you all want to get paid, right? You want to get taken care of. We as agents, we're not working for free, right?
Right.
But we also want to make sure our clients are taken care of. The separator with Transamerica, not only are they the highest, they go up the highest, they go up to 100,000 in coverage, right? The key differentiator is they start off to age 18
Mm-hmm.
and they go up to 85.
Right.
All right. When they're younger, it's going to be real nice and right in that nice cost effective option.
Yeah.
When you start getting a little bit more higher, that's when you're going to find some trouble over here with it. But again, all depending when you're talking with your clients, guys, here, whether it's a cremation or burial, you hear burial, you hear Transamerica, you think, okay, let me save this client some money. Even if they're, maybe about 70 years of age and older, you're going to see where it can get a little bit more pricier compared to the other competitors.
Right.
But here's the kicker, right? If you guys are going into Transamerica, they actually have it comes with a concierge service, right? And the concierge service they're partnering with right now is called Everest. They're actually working on another partnership to migrate over there. But with Everest, when that time comes, their beneficiary can make one phone call and the concierge service open 24/7. They'll actually handle the transportation of the body.
Mm-hmm.
They'll handle the negotiation of pricing, and they'll actually save on average their clients $4,000 to $6,000 off of burial. And check this out, they'll actually release to the family up to $25,000 early, even without a death certificate. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. If anybody personally has had to go through that, you've had anybody, I know that's you personally or know somebody that's gone through that. Look, let's be honest. These companies, it's like medicine. Medicine, it's not really medicine. It's not sick medicine. It's sick maintenance. These companies, they
Mm-hmm.
want to take advantage of,
Yeah.
what it is.
They drag their feet.
Huh?
They drag their feet.
They drag their feet. So the families can properly grieve and not be taken advantage of. Transamerica is a go-to. And that savings, again, think when you're doing this, you want to think inflation,
Mm.
right? Because that 4 to 6,000, that you can find a coverage that makes sense for their budget now, but down the future, what's that look like?
Yeah.
And having that concierge service in your pocket, and when maybe that $100 policy, can cover X amount, and they may be lagging an extra 3 or 4 thousand covers than they need. You
That's
got to be
so
thinking
true.
that down the road. So,
100%
um,
so true.
Transamerica too, guys, they accept all payments. Most payments, online bank stuff, no. They're real unique with the Direct Express card. So if you guys aren't aware of Direct Express card, Social Security, right? People on Social Security, they're waiting for their checks on the first, the third, the second or third Wednesday, whatever it is. They have what's called, Social Security specific. It's specific, very direct. They can line it up
Social
there.
security billing.
Yeah, Social Security billing. So as soon as that date hits, boom, it automatically goes through. And they're great. And here's the best part, guys. They're going to pay you the most. They
Hmm.
really are. And if you're a big producer, you write 100 grand. I think they're gonna go send you on a trip too. And look, the team over there, Transamerica, Steve, and probably another Steves we don't know. I mean, they're great. They're awesome, and they'll answer and they'll help you out, support you. So Transamerica all the way. Flag,
I absolutely love
yeah.
it. So that is one point that I just want to make sure that we
Mhm.
stress on is that concierge service. Even though that your client's going to pay that $3 to $5 more a month, you're going to be able to save them that, $4,000 to $6,000 in total. We're going to go ahead and speak on these carriers in pecking order, what we think is going to be our top carrier and make our way down. Next one is going to be a good old America.
All right, guys. So America, when it comes to comp, they'd be the next one up after Transamerica, right? They usually pay about 5% to 10% under, depending on the age, depending on the class that they get with their health. Now, the reason why I like America a lot is because they have three different ratings. When you see other carriers, they probably have two, also maybe three. However, America's more lenient.
Right.
Their first class is preferred, second class is standard. So they both provide day one coverage, right? Modified is the same as guaranteed, graded, etc. Now, other carriers might offer level, but then it's graded and then modified, right? So three different ratings, right? Very lenient, and you can do the pre-check the same as Transamerica. Okay. Now, you're gonna have a lot of the clients go to Select 2, and if you do get clients at Select 2, you'd want to go look at maybe Transamerica, right? That's why they're a good fallback carrier. Now, when you get someone at Select 1, you're probably going to get the best rate out there compared to any other carrier. And so if you're looking for the most affordable option, America is a good option if you have someone that's, very tight in budget.
Correct.
Okay. Now, they take COPD. They are very good at the non-smoker and smoker rates. So they have a quit smoking advantage program. If the client is currently smoking, they'll actually give them 3 years to quit. And then on the fourth year, they got to have 12 months where they don't smoke and it's on record. If it is on record, their price will immediately jump up to what it was shown as when you
Right.
quoted them, right? If they do quit, their rate stays the same. Okay. Now, if you have someone that smokes, you can think of America or you could think of another carrier that we'll get into. One thing for sure, America, they only take physical, right? Brick and mortars,
Mhm.
banks, credit unions. They don't take online banks. They don't do Chime. They don't do MetaBank. They don't do cards. Okay. Um, Other than that, I don't know what else I have much to say about America, to be honest with you. They go from 40 to 85. So you got a good age range there as well. After a certain age, I think like 75 and up, they don't take class 3 modified. They don't take that. So again, they're very lenient
Common carrier.
and common carrier rider. Oh, okay. Another unique benefit, thanks for reminding me. With the accidental, right? That's one thing that Transamerica doesn't offer,
Right.
right?
Correct.
So America, if you have someone that likes the option of having accidental, America can be a great option because let's say you have a client that has $10,000 in coverage and you maybe want to upsell, right? You can get some extra premium by letting them know of the double indemnity, right? The additional accidental death benefit rider, where if they do pass away, instead of 10 grand, their family's going to get 20 grand. You also have the common carrier benefit rider.
Mhm.
And when you pull up the report, you can see all this, right?
Mhm.
But the common carrier rider means if there's a public transportation that this client is on and they have a schedule, so they have to have a public schedule, right? Like a bus, a plane, a train, anything like that, and they're a passenger and they pass away, that's going to be triple indemnity for their beneficiary. So rather than 10 grand or 20 grand, it's 30 grand, right? So not many carriers do that at all that we have, right? Other than America. So if you want to upsell it, right, with the accidental, it's a great benefit. It's a couple bucks more, literally. And being that it's cheap, it helps to just include it anyway. I kind of just include it anyway,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah, I mean, quick underwriting decisions, just like Transamerica,
Kind of
right?
focus a little bit more about that, the underwriting decisions, how it's immediate and how fast you get paid with America as opposed to everybody else.
Yeah, so America's going to pay you the fastest. So like let's say today is what, Monday? So if you have a client that you get approved today and their payment goes through today, you'd wake up to a statement tomorrow. you'd get paid on Wednesday, right? Where Transamerica, if you run the same scenario, they would pay you on Thursday,
Yep.
right? And we can talk about the other carriers, but the reason why we go in this pecking order is because we're looking at the most comp we can get to get paid fast, and at the same time put a client in the best scenario possible when it comes to them passing away and their beneficiaries getting that benefit. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things to say about Transamerica and Americo, both A-rated carriers, right? Been around for at least over 100 years with Transamerica. Americo, same thing. They come from a group of companies. But you're going to get some good, quick underwriting decisions off the get.
Very good question, Edgar. Just to bring it up to attention, and also Marcus, we're going to readdress that too. In regards to when it said it's your first time writing in that state, I'm glad that you brought that up. Just for the people in introduction, this is your first couple
That's
weeks.
good.
As you know that, yes, we do get paid immediately. How it works on Monday, you write somebody up. On Tuesday, you're going to get the email that said that's been approved and how much you're going to get paid. And Wednesday, it's in your pocket. However, when you are a first-time writer within that state, every carrier has to go through a carrier agent validation period. So that usually takes anywhere between 2 to 5 business days for them to go through, check the National Producer Registry, find the actual state license in that state before they can go ahead and proceed. So there are some people who are asking, like, how come I have negative $25 in my commission? I haven't written any policies yet. How is this possible? Well, as you know, with these insurance carriers, it does cost them hundreds of dollars to do their back end research on you, make sure that you are the right person and you don't have any fraudulent things within your name. So very good question, Edgar. Once you do write that piece of business in that state, you get approved through that state with that specific carrier, then there's no more waiting periods. However, so keep in concept, let's say that you live in California, you wrote something in Ohio. Maybe that first piece of business in Ohio will have that 2 to 5 business days to get your name fully approved. It has nothing to do with your client. But once your name gets approved, at that point, the next time you write in that state of Ohio, it's going to take that 1 to 2 business days to get paid. Very good question.
I'd like to add on top of that too. So when it comes to their customer service with Americo, it's best to do it over email. The way to do that is inside their home portal. So if you click contact us at the bottom, it'll give you a list. It'll give you a list of like the categories that you can like send an email for, whether it's the policy billing, whether it's requirement. So like Edgar, you're talking about the states. One thing Janelle brought up is that if it is your first time selling in that state, send the PDF of your license through that portal so they can issue it faster, right? You might as well send your license info so that you can get paid faster. If it does it help, I'm not sure. I haven't done it. But for new agents, if you want to speed up the process to getting paid, then just send it through the home portal.
Correct. And then second question, Marcus asks, what is a pre-check and what does that mean? Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So when we say pre-check and Telegram, what that means is it can go one of two ways, right? They can get approved for a certain rating or they can just get declined. But a pre-check tells a story, right? If you go into the app and you do the personal information and then you go into sending them the code, once you send the code, America's already reading their background, right? It's already pulling their records. It's already pulling the prescriptions, conditions, everything. You'll see that people get declined for several reasons, or they'll get a rating, or they'll get the rate adjusted because of something, right? It'll be due to prescription history. Sometimes you have people that get declined because of a previous decline. That tells you that someone have already helped them apply there and they got declined there, right? But if it's prescription history, you can ask your client, hey, what other prescriptions are you taking? I'm seeing here that they're looking at something. They just don't tell me what that is, right? You can get more information out of your client. But a pre-check goes a long way because if they get flat out declined, there's more to the story, right, than what the client is telling you. So a pre-check is good. You don't get dinged for that with Americo, thankfully. So if you want to go through Americo and see if they get approved, you can, right? So it's a great go-to carrier to get an instant decision.
Excellent. All right, so as you're making that transition, hopefully you guys can hear from this side. It makes it pretty simple once you start understanding the sole purposes of each company and how they can differentiate to one another. One thing that I do want to say straightforward is that every single carrier or does not have the same underwriting capabilities.
Right.
I mean by that, some companies like Ethos, they check the black web and seeing, your social web of anything that you can find. While other carriers might check prescription history, the MIB report, hospitalization, so on and so forth. With Americo, they are a unique company as well. They work by a point system. There are some carriers that are going to give you a straight out no,
Right.
but with certain series like COPD, and depending on how severe it is, it can be a straight ROP or it can be something that could be S2 standard
Yeah.
in their cases, which is going to give you that label on day one coverage. Okay, so understanding the pivot system and how which carriers look for what, which we'll explain a little bit more in depth, that's very important. So make sure that when we get to the actual underwriting segment of today's call, that you actually pay attention. On to the next phase. Obviously, if you got disapproved with one of the next two, you always want to go to true stage. Or should I say that as ethos?
Ethos.
Now, this is the number one guy when it comes to
All right.
ethos.
So Ethos again is not a life insurance company. It's a technology platform. So you can say that when you send the code to your client, right? It's going to link you to the carrier that is likely to approve you, is what I tell them. Now, they don't really look at the MIB. Doesn't mean we shouldn't disclose the conditions of the client. We should, right? Because again, if someone was to pass away and they look at the application and that information's that is on their health records, it's not on the application, they won't pay out, just like any other company, right? Um, they are great in terms of being lenient, like compared to most conditions. If you have someone that gets declined with Transamerica or Americo, you can almost say that you're guaranteed to get them approved at Ethos, almost, depending on the condition, right? Now, the reason why we go from Transamerica to Americo to Ethos is because you can also do a pre-check. Now, the thing is with Ethos, if you do a pre-check and they get approved, you do get dinged to it, right? Or sorry, you do get dinged. When it comes to the bonus, right, you have an activation rate. If you get someone approved, but you don't submit the application, you fail to activate that policy and it hurts your score or your percentage to getting that bonus. Okay. So my biggest recommendation is if you have a client that got declined with Americo and Transamerica, you might as well go into Ethos with their banking, right? Because you don't want to hurt your chances at the bonus. Now that's another thing. But they do look at the motor vehicle reports, right? They look at a little bit of data. It's not the MIB, something else. But really,
That's the kids meal menu.
right. But it's really fast
Yeah,
approvals.
cheese
Okay,
menu.
you have the ability to do ages of 20 to 85, right? Similar to Transamerica. 20 to 85. Trans is 18 to 85.
Mhm.
They also have their guaranteed product. Now, that one is 45 to 80. Okay. 45 to 80 years old, meaning if the client is getting declined everywhere or they have certain conditions, you want to get them a 2-year waiting period, Ethos does offer that. Right. What's the other thing here, guys, that I'm missing with Ethos?
Well, Ethos, if you want to talk about money,
Money.
yeah, we all like making money. If you ain't making money, don't make no dollar, make no sense. No, no. What happens here is this with Ethos.
Yeah.
With Ethos, guys, remember, knowing your products is one thing, but ultimately knowing exactly where to place them to help look out for yourself and your family as well. It's family first on all else angles, right? Ethos, right? Prime real estate is what? 60 to 80.
Right.
60 to 80.
Sure.
You guys got to plug that in your mind right here. If you got somebody from 60 to 80 and you're selling a final expense whole life policy, right?
Okay.
60 to 80, that's got to be driven in your head. If it's anything less, it's anything above, all right, you're taking a ding on your comp.
Same thing with America.
Yeah.
60 to 80.
Yep.
Right. If you're looking for the absolute most comp, 60 to 80.
Yep.
Americo and
Yep.
Ethos.
Yep.
Anything before, anything after is going to be 10 to 15% less, maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good thing that we're independent and not captive agents, so we don't get stuck in those specific scenarios. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we got another question here. Chris says, so pre-check is pretty much running an app through Americo first, regardless of what carrier we decide to go with. So you don't just pre-check Americo just to pre-check Americo, right? You want to look at the grid sheet. You want to look if you can even go there, because if they have, chronic kidney disease, you're not going to go to Americo, right? Just to pre-check it. You're wasting your time. Here's an important thing, right? when you have a client on the phone, it's all about efficiency. Okay. When you're doing business over the phone, clients can get frustrated, they can get impatient. And if you don't know how to pivot or at least avoid from pivoting and going directly to the carrier that is likely to take them, you're really wasting your time. You want to be efficient and go into the carrier that is likely to approve them. You don't want to just pre-check
Correct.
Transamerica, pre-check Americo, pre-check Ethos, and then write Corbridge GIWL, right? You don't want to give them you don't want to go through that just to give them a tier waiting period. And then now they've done all these signatures, they get to Corbridge and they got to do a DocuSign. You know what I mean? So go to the carrier by doing your due diligence and looking across all the guidelines. You guys will see. We'll go over it at the end.
Yeah.
But great question.
Talking about benefits, the trust.
Oh, exactly. I was going to get into that too. So guaranteed product with Ethos is a 2-year wait. Correct. That's correct. Geraldo.
No, tell them your guaranteed issue. You get someone that goes GI, Ethos, kick it.
Yeah.
Tell them, kick rocks. No good.
So
stay away from that.
So GI, right? Guaranteed product with Ethos. If the client gets routed to guaranteed acceptance whole life, that's a 2-year waiting period. Now, if you guys look at your earnings on the left tab and you scroll down, you'll see it pays like really bad, right? I don't want to say it, but it pays really bad. You don't want to write it. Unless, of course, you have to, right? Like I wrote one on Saturday and I helped the lady replace her policy and get her a lot more savings, right? Although my commission is nothing. But if you have a client, I would just pivot. You have Corbridge, you have another great carrier in Corbridge to help them get approved with a GI product, right? It's not going to pay you as much. Although it does count towards bonus, I wouldn't recommend writing it. Now, there is a will and a trust that comes with Ethos, okay? It's an online portal that's included with that. Now, I always tell them like, hey, great news, right? After they got approved, right? Again, it's an upsell. Hey, great news. We're training in a pre-approval here. It comes with a will and trust at no cost to you. Okay, it's a benefit that you can use inside the online portal. I can give you the phone line so that you can connect with someone there at Ethos to help you structure it, right? Because that's not our job, but it comes included. So they do take banks, they don't take cards. And with the online banks, it could get real tricky. I want to highlight when you get to the banking with the account and routing number, sometimes you put it in and it might say the account is in poor standing. Even though you try to post-date the payment and you're putting the banking and you're just trying to submit the application, if it says that, it means they probably have insufficient funds. Something's wrong with their account. It could be frozen. So you got to be able to ask the client and then see if you got to use another bank, someone else's bank. That's another thing. You could have a different payer without actually addressing that it's a different payer. I have policies that I've had on there for over a year, almost two, several policies where it was a different payer.
Yep.
I didn't put the different payer's name, their last name. I just put their account number and routing number, and they're paying for it and they're covered. So if you have banks that don't go through, you have to find another bank or you got to find another carrier.
And he knows me.
You may keep the mic over there. Give me a rest. Shoot, this feels good. I'm always talking. I feel good. Hell, the fire, baby. Shoot, everybody knows me. I'm always talking. I'm like, I can finally breathe.
Yeah, we'll get to MM in a bit.
Actually, that's going to be a good pivot.
That is a good
going
pivot.
from Ethos. The next one that's going to be online is American Amicable, and I think that's the one that I should address because it saved my life. I don't know how many times.
So there's one more thing,
Got it.
right? Ethos is a week, like a week and a day later. Okay. Now,
Oh man, they pay
like a week and a day later. Just wanted to say that. But you've gone through three carriers, right? They've all been pre-checked or whatever, like instant decision, and then you get to MM. So you
Hey,
can
real
talk about
quick.
it.
Well, I tell you what, we'll go into that afterwards. I'll cover some of the topics after the American Amicable. We got something to share.
So American Amicable, we don't have to stress that much, put too much time into them. But however, this is one of my favorite companies because of this specifically. It's often called the approval saver in our aims.
Clutch.
Reason being, there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to give you those denials. As you know, this is certain pecking orders, and sometimes buyers are liars. You might have got the right information that you think you should disclose. You typed in the right things. You checked off all the right boxes, but they keep on getting denied. So it's like, what the hell is going on, right? Instead of fearing, one thing that I have learned is don't tell your client that they did not get approved or they got denied from that carrier. Just have simple soft talk with them and saying, this is a couple more things. I got to make sure I can get all the approved discounts your way and then dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's for you. Bear with me. How's the weather with you? So that's going to help you with that transition.
Very good point.
So we're going through with American Amicable. Is this going to be your first choice? No, unless it's one scenario where I come into. We're talking to seniors, right? Seniors, as you know, they weren't of that. They're the analog era. They're not really good with text messages. Call it for what it is, 60s and up. Unless you find somebody that's modern, they're just having a hard time. So when you have that conversation initially, especially if you're doing inbounds, the first 60 seconds, you're asking it, are you pretty good at sending and receive text messages to this line? As you know that you do need to put a digital signature one way or the other, whether it be via email or through text. The vast majority of the carriers that we work with is going to be via text message. So when you have that one person that says, no, I don't know how to, I'm using my Obama phone, I don't know how to send text messages. Instead of calling it, it is what it is. You have an opportunity to at least go to a carrier. Okay, American Amicable is there to save the day. They're the only one of our top 5 that has a voice signature. So instead of that 6-digit carrier where you're going to have them send them a text, read it back to you, or an email that they have to click through, you're just going to read it as a little segment after you finalize the entire application. You go to the voice signature process of it. You're going to read them 2 to 3 paragraphs. They're going to give you a yes or no confirmation. And it works the same way of actually collecting in that digital signature one way. So for the ones that aren't digitally savvy, that's the go-to. Like earlier today, I wrote an American Amicable policy. First 60 seconds, they was completely healthy. Got into a question. I asked him, do you know how to send and receive text messages? Yes. Okay, perfect. So when we went through the entire financial inventory, when it got down to the portion where I was saying, okay, I'm gonna send you over my agent validation page so you can put a face to the voice and know who you're speaking to. I just sent it over from my 909 area code. Did you get it? I don't know how to do this. I probably have to hang up and I'll give you a call back.
Not today, buddy. Not today.
You get one chance. So instead of that, straight enough, what I did is did that pivot, went over to MM so we can get that one shot, one kill. Okay. So this is going to be the best option for 2 things. One, no text messages, no email capabilities. I don't have an email. Some carriers, you can't write them a policy if they don't have an active email address. Second thing, multiple medications. As you said, that there are different risk classes. This company is a little bit more lenient when it comes to it. And when you have a complication of medications, they are a little bit more likely to give you approval. And to be bluntly honest, I think it's because their underwriting isn't as strong. Their carrier reps aren't as boastful as the Americas and Transamericas of the world. So you can get a couple people go past. When Transamerica and America gonna say no, then that'll be a good one. And then finally, what you do to be able to salvage those deals to make sure that everything's not lost. The best thing that you can do within that segment with American Amicable, once you finalize the policy, you press submit to application. They're not one of the companies that are going to give you that immediate yes or no before collecting all the information. You have to get everything from social banking information and all that in order to press submit. Once you press submit, and this is when I will preface back with the buyers are liars. Sometimes when people have someone say, oh no, I'm just taking the high blood pressure medication and maybe some cholesterol. Comes down with American Amicable, you press submit, it's going to show you that whole entire list of anything in it. You get to call BS.
Yeah.
I had a client that said they're only taking 2 medications and it comes back and it was like literally 9 of them. I had to slide scroll to get down to the next portion. And one of the medications that I were taking was the donepezil, which is essentially Alzheimer's medications. So I can see why they forgot why they had so many.
Here's a key point too, guys, with American Amicable. What's really unique, and put this in your brain, embed it in there, guys. Write it down. If you're working and you're not paying attention, this is for you. Don't be asking for help after this. All right. When you get through the MM app and a prescription shows up and it may be linked to maybe a COPD, maybe it's linked to a congestive heart failure, and that client has stated it's not for that, they allow you to tell a deeper story. No and no. And guess what? This client is eligible for a level immediate death benefit. Boom, sent to home office. Bam. So it's going to allow you to tell you a deeper story.
That's true. Even more so, sometimes it will say it's sent to underwriting. Do you have any additional information?
Exactly. And that's the point. That's a great key point right there. If it's sending over and it gives you an option, guys, if there's ever a doubt in your mind where you think it may get denied and it says, would you like to attach anything? Yes. Write a
Yes.
cover letter. Write a cover letter.
Write that
You
down.
know, if you don't know much, get with
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, man. I've got some agents out there. I'm like, oh my Lord Jesus, your ChatGPT, he must be on payroll. This kid got crazy. But listen, the deal gets done,
Yeah.
right?
There you go.
And you got to tell a deeper story. And but
Smokers.
oh yeah, smoker too. A great smoker rate.
Mhm.
Am has got great smoker rates. They got the cheapest smoker rate if they're smoking. You know, you got these guys, talking about Am too. They got a great live chat. American Amicable has a great live chat. If you guys aren't familiar with that, you guys are gonna laugh. I went in there for forever. I could never find it. It's a huge blue bubble and it says live chat. I'm looking all the words. I'm like, where is this
Yes.
thing? And oh, yeah, it's a live chat. Go in there, ask questions. They're great. They're really informative to help you out if you need help learning and understanding their portal, underwriting stuff. And yeah, they're the one company again that's going to tell you what's up. But
Mhm.
great stuff overall.
Right, so as we're making that transition, we went over our power four. The last one is going to be there. It's going to be Corebridge American General. I'm not going to waste too much time with there. It's honestly, if they're 50 to age 80, if they have a credit card, debit card, any form of payment, and they're still breathing, they can get a
Mhm.
policy with them. It's guaranteed issue. It's going to be a 2-year waiting period. What I like to tell our clients is it's a glorified savings account for the first 24 months. Essentially, is if you were to pass away, something was to happen to you, anything that you put in, as in every single penny, you'll get 100% of that back plus an additional
Yeah.
10%. Give them simple numbers. If you put $1,000 in, you'll get $1,100 back. After that month 25 and on, whatever you choose at the face value, that's what your family is going to get free and clear. What kind of payments do they accept? Everything. They just want to get paid, literally.
Mhm.
So anybody from between 50 to 80, guaranteed issue, that AIDS, cancers, things that's going to get you canceled out or from every other carrier, that's going to be your go-to. Okay.
Yeah.
After age 80 to 85, there is one more carrier that is kind of like we should put asterisks by. It's called Instabrain. Instabrain is the only carrier that we can have that's going to help people with guaranteed coverages between the age of 80 and 85.
Yeah. Oh, key differentiator with Corbridge, guys. Stage one cancers.
Good call.
Stage one cancers. Okay. If you got someone has a stage one cancer, you are immediately looking at a Corbridge. Why? Look, some of the common ones that have a high success rate, like testicular, prostate, ovarian,
Breast.
breast, the major ones, lungs and stuff like that. Huh? No, no. But there's another one in there I'm missing. But go in there and look at it. Look at the stage. Oh, cervical cancer. Those are the ones that are going to give you day one coverage. So again, that's why when in underwriting, guys, we want to ask better questions, right? Get better answers. If we don't know exactly when the diagnosis was, if we don't understand what the stage is, how can we best, because how can we best help our clients? I've had how many times we've had a client, oh, I'm going through cancer. I would hope, I'm struggling right now. Well, what do you got? Well, I got breast cancer. What stage is it? Stage one. Why are you over here at this company over here in a waiting period? There's, look, well, let me
Mhm.
not gonna say that, but I'm saying, look, help me understand the nature of the situation. What you're looking for? Are you looking for more coverage, or were you looking for? Was it more about the comfort of the price? Which way? Okay, if there's an opportunity to get you where you're in a waiting period, if something were to happen, okay, there's an opportunity to get you a little bit maybe more coverage, or maybe help you your premium and get you day one coverage that make the most sense, right? Boom, Corbridge is your answer right there.
With you go within the comments, there's going to be 2 hyperlinks that were sent over to you. The first one should be bookmarked for everyone to see. That's FEXUW, which stands for Final Express Underwriting.com. FEXUW.com. Make sure that's bookmarked and it's favored within your computer, whether it be Safari or Chrome.
That should
Second one is going to be our agency, winnercircle.help.
Mhm.
That's going to be essentially from A through Z. If you don't have somebody that's your upline that you can get in contact with, it's going to explain every segment of the business outside of that new agent academy. We'll explain that on another week, but we want to focus more so just on the straight underwriting segment. Make sure that you have FEXUW.com saved, stored in a secure spot. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see how it reads. This is essentially going to be in pecking order when we're talking about final expenses, which carrier that we should go for and with sequential order. First and foremost is going to be Transamerica, as you know, a pivot from America, True Sage, and so on and so forth. First line, as you see, this carrier guidelines. This is going to be how we did our quoting back 7 years ago. If you don't have any questions or concerns, you might as well go to the actual carrier itself and know exactly. So these are going to be the back end carrier underwriting guidelines. It's going to tell you which companies, what suggested, what may be kickers, what not, so on and so forth. So make sure that you keep your eye on here when you're in the toilet or have some free time. Make sure that you go look over these documents so you get a
You ain't
better
lying.
understanding of which carrier you should go with. It's always, since you're going to become a professional, you might as well treat this as a profession as well.
Yep.
So the carrier guidelines is going to be on the top course. The next section is going to be the kickouts. Now, these are the specifics. Maybe it wouldn't be the health history or ailments that's going to make you pivot to another carrier. It could be something as simple as a voice text signature or their age or how much they're looking for. That grade section within columns 4 through 6 is going to go ahead and tell you the specifics based off of their ages, off of the policies as well. Do keep in mind that American Amicable is the one and only company that's going to be able to take somebody from birth till essentially death because they have two different types of policies. First one is going to be the family choice, which is going to be from 0 to 49. Second one is going to be senior choice, which is going to be 59 to 85. What you see on your side on column E, where it says American Amicable, underneath it, it says Family Protector Legacy. If you're to do in your quotes, you will notice that your Family Protector Legacy is typically going to cost anywhere between $4 to $6 more than the simple traditional senior choice. That's because it actually owns the Everest in a sense. It's going to be that concierge service that Jordan was telling you about that's going to save your client anywhere between $4 to $6,000 when that time does come. So yeah, they might pay you an extra $4 to $6 a month, but in the back end, you're going to save them, an exponential amount. Segment face amounts. As you know, we have companies that can go all the way up to $100,000 depending on their age and health. It tells you the limitations and max coverage is there, along with payment methods as well. You're going to have some people that are going to have the income, could be healthy enough, but just getting their Social Security money just on Direct Express, that green MasterCard. Not every carrier takes the Direct Express. So make sure that everything's imperative, but take very good notes. So when you don't make those decisions, try to go through a whole entire application, like, wait a minute, they don't take them because of payment methods. No, so it's imperative that you take really, really good notes. Finally, last thing that I would want to focus on before I throw it over to them is going to be I-10. I-10 are people that are not U.S. citizens, and they have that international in something. I forget what it is.
In time, in new.
Hey, it allows you to work and collect taxes, all that good stuff out here if you're not a U.S. citizen. So as long as you have an I-10 number, we do have carriers that are willing to do business with you too. So it's accepted with True Stage and American Amicable. Anybody else? I gotta look at it myself. Yep,
Let's
those
open
two.
it up.
Okay, cool. So and then last thing before we open it up, we just added this today. Leftmost side, it's going to be conditions. With conditions, we want to see anything that's red. That's GI, baby. Don't waste your time. If they tell you something that has red,
Don't matter if they got diabetes.
don't ask them another question. Don't ask if they have diabetes. None of that.
Don't
They're
throw them
hiding weight.
Telegram.
Don't waste your time. Just get straight to the nitty-gritty. You're going to go with GI with them, okay? Yellow is hit or miss. So it depends per carrier. Some carriers are going to give you a
Look back
no,
periods.
but exactly, look back periods for certain carriers will give you other ones. So make sure if you have that high alert, do your research, trust and verify. And
Yeah.
I think we did pretty good for the underwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got another thing here.
Okay.
Art, when you were saying that, you had said there's your pecking order. So one thing that caught my attention was Sam's group, how they said they go trans first, America. They have a pecking order, right, of who they run for. And when you mentioned just now your pecking order, were you referencing like that's the order that you suggest we go in? Trans first, America, then True Stage.
Exactly that. Yes, sir.
Why? And it is more just so I understand. If you can help me understand, why would True Stage be the third one, like before Corebridge, who has a better comp, and American Amicable? Why, like, to me in my head, I go eat those True Stage. That's my last stop shop.
So
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
a app be more easy to do with the signature with Ethos or Corebridge?
Much easier with Ethos.
There you go.
Right.
They're going for simplicity.
Okay.
Going for simplicity. If you're looking at numbers and whatnot, you're going to take a little hit on the comp from a Corebridge, and Ethos. But again, prime real estate is 60 to 80, and plus you're going to get a bigger bonus on the back end from Ethos compared to the quarterly one at Corebridge. But in terms of simplicity, and then most people with seniors with their phones, getting a code rather than, all right, scan here, pop up blocker, close this, do that. It's, so
And then aside from it being an easier app, who would be more lenient, Ethos or Corebridge?
Well, ethos is more lenient.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why.
That's why.
Top three for for simplicity and leniency.
I think he was comparing this in for guaranteed issue as opposed to simplified. For the simplified purposes, that's the
I
Well,
was
simplified. Yeah, guaranteed issue all day. Do you ever get a guaranteed issue? I'm sorry, if you get guaranteed issue with Ethos, no, you never. Go to Corebridge and Instabrain.
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about is you see your grid sheets and you're using them and you're going based off what the client is telling you on what the conditions they have, but they also tell you certain prescriptions that they also have.
Right.
Now, those prescriptions you don't want to overlook.
Yep.
If you see that the client has a certain condition and it says you can go America, you can go Transamerica, you can go Ethos, that's great.
Mhm.
But if they tell you they have Donepezil, and as a new agent like me, when I started, I didn't know what that was, right? And I probably would have gone America and I would have pre-checked
The
it.
peasant.
There's a thing called Google, okay? You want to look up the medications because believe me when I tell you, you will waste more time and really hurt your client's patience by pre-checking everything, by not doing your due diligence and looking up what that medication treats.
Understood.
If we see the medication, we don't know what it is, just Google it. That's my biggest tip. Because now if it says, oh, well, this medication treats this, but they didn't mention to me any of that. Now you can tell the client, hey, I'm looking at the medication here that you told me. However, you told me the conditions that you have, but this one says it treats XYZ. Tell me about that, right? The client may not know that they were diagnosed with a certain condition, but those guidelines that you see on the fexuw.com, right, where it says carrier guidelines, you guys should look in there for the ones that offer prescription guidelines, right? Like Aetna, American Amicable, Corebridge. If you have a prescription that they give you, you don't know what it is, and you Google it, you can actually look through those carriers right there, and they'll tell you, and you'll avoid pivoting so much and hurting yourself and the client in terms of getting approved, right? You also don't want to get them decline left and right. That makes them look desperate for coverage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just look at Google, look at the medications, look at the guidelines when it comes to that. Don't overlook prescriptions.
Yeah, and on top of that, guys, since we're on the topic of understanding carriers and products, here's the thing, guys. Going through all this stuff, I want you guys to visualize this, right? What's that client look like that's on the other end? Asking the right questions. So when they tell you, like, hey, are you asking them, are you on Social Security? Are you fully retired? Are you still working? Oh, retirement. Okay, would you retire from? Is he still, was he on the road? Was he sitting behind a desk? Was he in a busy place? Whatever. Are you still working? Is he on the road? Is he around? Can that accidental make more sense as an add-on or a separate policy? People, if they're wealthy, you go into living will and trust. Person that's on their last dime, they need something, but they're younger, they can afford it. That concierge service will make sense down the road.
Sure.
So that's the mindset you guys want to have with these clientele, digging deeper. And this is the things you guys want to be leading up to before you're even getting anywhere near pricing. Ask, like Steve always says, ask better questions, get better answers. You want to be also giving a preview to yourself. Okay, based upon what they're sharing with me, this is going to make the most sense. But if this doesn't here, I know if this medication here pulls up here, I can go here and sidestep in here. But this is because look, reality is, look, we all want to get paid, but that's not the reason we're here. We're here to help people.
Right.
And family first, right? We're looking out for these families first, and we're looking out for ours. And look, the money's going to come. It's not about that. It's about truly helping people. And look, if you respect who you are and in this industry, you create time to understand the underwriting. That's why we've gotten so great. I mean, there's no better feeling like when you show up, you're like, oh yeah, good, right? When we have training and stuff, you want to create time. You got to clear your schedule doing that. If you're having trouble with underwriting, you got to clear your schedule for that. The clients are always going to be there because if that answer you've been seeking, right, or that reason why you can't get past 5 or 10,000, that reason where you're having trouble when you get stumped with that thing, this is the reason why we do it, right? We all could be doing we have our own schedules and all our things we can do, but we're doing this because we care about each other, and that's what's so special about this group. You're not going to find a better culture that's out there, selfless.
I agree.
Yeah, actually on selfless, right? So when you guys throw the underwriting there into Telegram, you throw it in there trusting us that we may know everything. We know a lot. But when there's something that you throw in there almost 8 times out of 10, we're going onto the grid sheet for you and telling you
Bingo.
the answer, right?
Say that again.
So we're doing the work for you when
Mhm.
we could do the due diligence in a matter of literally
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of already answered the question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but so we should like try to find the answer like with the grid or through our own reading and knowledge before we put it in the chat.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right?
Yeah. When
Try
you go
to,
through,
yeah, try to take the case.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the grid sheet, fexuw.com, you can control F and type in the condition and it'll lay out exactly, right, the carriers. Now, if you want to take a step further, you can click the carrier guidelines and you can do the same thing. So rather than trying to like scan and scroll through everything, you just do the control F or command F, one of those two,
Mhm.
and it'll pull it up,
Yeah.
right? And same thing with the prescriptions. Google them, find out what they treat, and then ask better questions, right? When you guys are taking note of the conditions, right, you can use that to create urgency. Okay. You've done the shopping for them, but letting them know, hey, you have COPD
Yeah.
and you smoke, like, thank God you're not on oxygen, right? But this is the only option here that would actually take you, right now. So you can use the conditions to pretty much create urgency to actually
Yeah.
act on getting
Right,
insurance.
now
So
that you said that.
Yeah.
That's actually something that Sean Mike harps on, and I'm just gonna wrap it up with this. I know
Yeah.
I've been past the hour. I appreciate your buddy. But Sean Mike, he also said in one convention, he said that he threw it straight out at his client. Wow, so you have COPD and you're taking these 4 or 5 medications? If I was the owner of the company, I wouldn't insure you. But honestly, I wouldn't take you.
Yeah.
But good thing that we have two carriers that are willing to do business, because if it was me, I would have said no. Point blank, period. Just what, we're gonna get you approved for this policy right now in the next 10 minutes. Once you get your approved, don't ever lose it.
Yeah.
You see how my tonality and the strength of it
Yeah.
came through.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it first and foremost. And then once you get the numbers, the list of medications, the biggest thing that you can do is run your first 100 appointments as fast as possible. Once you take 100 appointments in, then there's a great chance that you're going to know what's going to happen with medications. Everybody's taking the same type of medications, and you have those easier pivots. So when you have those problems, that's not a knockout, and it's in between maintenance medications and knockouts. Use the FEX underwriting. Make sure that you use your downfall. If anything else, make sure that you bookmark that. Answer your own questions first and foremost. I'm not saying that we're trying to be lazy as managers, but this is a process that you need to understand yourself, because when you start building your own downline, they're going to have questions that you need to be able to answer as well. So it's always trust but verify. That FEXUW is there at your disposal. We took the time to create that to make sure that you can help as many clients as possible. But if you don't have any questions right now, we do very much appreciate everybody. I know there's a whole bunch of things you could be doing right now, but instead you're taking that one chance to get 1% better today. We're looking forward to seeing you on the Telegram. Much love, everybody. Look forward to talk to you soon.
Peace.